Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie and I help you change your beliefs so you can change your body, your health, and your life. This video, I am going to be answering another question I got. I really like doing these because this one is a case study in particular, and I really like the case studies because I feel like a lot of you are going through the same thing or stuck in the same place, and even if your stats aren't quite the same, the answer that I give applies to most of you out there, because if you are stuck, what you need to do to get unstuck, to move forward, is often completely kind of change your approach, go in the opposite direction almost to what you think you have to do. All right, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. Now, this person is, in my opinion, hardly eating, training a lot, like exercising a lot, 4 to 5 days a week on the treadmill for 2 to 3 miles, running at a pace of 11.5. Like, it doesn't really matter the specifics of it. 4 to 5 weeks on the treadmill doing cardio, basically, additional walking every day, which is great because walking is not a stress on the body, and that is what you want. Like, you have to understand this. In order for the body to respond, first of all, you need to change the stimulus. So if you are stimulating the body in a certain way and you like make some progress and then it stops, you have to increase the stimulus if you can. In this situation, that would mean decreasing calories or increasing output, so cardio, I guess, or steps, whatever. But what you then have to realize is you get to a point where the body is just not going to respond because the overload of stress that you're placing on it. So that is why I really do like walking over cardio for fat loss, because walking is not a stress on the body, but it does help you expend energy, whereas cardio is a stress on the body. You can do both, but you need to make sure, again, you're managing that stress load on your body. And if you're also hardly eating, then that doesn't help with that, because being in a deficit, not giving your body enough fuel for its like daily functioning, that is a stress on the body too. So they're in the gym an hour to 2 hours a day, which is a lot, really. Doing some strength training, which is great. Doing some yoga, which is great as well, because yoga is not really a stress on the body, depending on what type of yoga you're doing, but that's fine. Now, in terms of I'm wondering if I'm insulin resistant or what, I can't tell you that. Your doctor can though. So I am like not a fan of doctors in most cases, but in this case, it's like, just go and get your blood work done and see what comes out, see what your doctor says in that regard, because they will actually be able to give you a specific answer to that, so you don't have to wonder. But regardless, even if you are insulin resistant, that doesn't mean you can't lose weight, and it doesn't mean you can't lose body fat, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be exercising in some way, and strength training especially, because that actually helps to improve insulin resistance. Now, she does know I do not always meet my macro goals of protein, so that's a great place to start. If you know that already, and protein is really important, not just for muscle growth, not just for health, but also for fat loss, because it is the macronutrient that costs the most energy to digest and absorb. So I would start there in terms of getting that protein up and making sure you are consistent with that every single day, making sure you are actually tracking your data in some way and looking for consistency. I actually just had this conversation with a client who I gave her a challenge. She was like, I need to change something. And I'm like, no, you don't. You need to just stick to your calories, and you haven't been showing me your data, so I can't see if you actually have or not. So let's have a challenge where you stick to everything, you track absolutely everything, and like send it to me, or my clients all get a sheet that they update with their data. And so input that, and then do it for 30 days straight, and then let's see if things move again. And what do you know? She's now losing weight again because she's tracking, she's inputting her data. You can see it all laid out. She has improved her consistency heaps because she's kind of holding herself accountable by tracking it all out and actually having that visual representation of her consistency. It's very easy to hide it from yourself if you're just saying, oh, I do it most days and I'm pretty good, and then you kind of just like forget about those odd days where you haven't been consistent, and then they end up adding up more than you really recognize or admit to yourself. So by actually tracking your data, having it in front of you, you can really see for sure that you have been consistent. And in a lot of cases, that is the biggest problem. You just haven't been consistent. And as soon as you get back on track, things will keep moving forward. It's not a matter of having to change things. You just need to improve your consistency. So that is what I'd start with here. Now, the next thing I would actually do is I would go through a reverse diet. And the reason for this is because if you are stuck losing weight on such low calories, you can't really reduce them anymore. Like, you're in a place where you can't reduce your calories anymore. You are already doing a lot of exercise. The stress load on your body is high. So I would actually start going the opposite direction, building those calories back up. I would remove like pretty much all of the cardio, keep the strength training, go harder on that. So I would prioritize strength training 3 to 4 days a week so that you can build more muscle. It is going to help your metabolism. It is going to help with fat loss in the future. And it's, at the end of the day, if you focus on strength training and fat loss at the same time, then you are going to get a leaner looking body regardless of what the scale is saying. So I would change your focus from weight loss to fat loss and recomposition, which can be achieved even if you start building your calories up. Now, I am assuming here a little bit that you are not at the intermediate to advanced levels of strength. So therefore, recomposition, body recomposition, fat loss, muscle gain at the same time is still a potential option for you. Like, you have potential to do that. So that is what I would recommend whilst building those calories back up through a reverse diet. Now, I know that can be hard to hear because in your head, you're probably like, I need to do more, I need to eat less, or why isn't it working on this amount? I'm already eating so little. But that is your problem. Like, you need to start eating more, build your metabolism back up, get used to eating more food. You won't gain body fat if you do it right. And what I mean by that is you take it slow, you make sure you have adapted before you add any extra increases of food. So small increases at the time. I'm talking like 100 calories per maybe every fortnight, every 3 weeks, maybe every week, depending on how your body is responding. But then also change the focus to increasing your strength training, reducing all the cardio except for steps. And the reason for that is just because of the stress thing. So steps are not a stress on the body, but will help you keep expending energy. And then, yeah, so prioritize that strength training. That is going to help you most. Then let go of what the number is saying on the scale. So ideally, in a reverse diet, you will not really gain any weight if done properly. However, you might gain a little bit in terms of if you're eating more carbs, then you're going to be storing more glycogen and water in your muscles and liver. So that is going to add weight. But again, it doesn't mean you're gaining body fat. And because you have that recomposition potential, you can actually lose body fat as you're building your calories up. And you have to remember as well, energy input impacts your output. So as much as you are expending a lot of energy through exercise at the moment, that's still only a small portion of your total daily energy expenditure, around 5%. A bigger component is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your NEAT levels. So that is all your subconscious activity, like how I'm just moving my hand about now, right? Like all the little things you do in your day, they actually account for more of your total daily energy expenditure. And so what happens when you start increasing your food, you will find subconsciously, you don't even realize it, you are moving more throughout the day and expending that energy anyway. If you are curious about reverse dieting, I think I have videos somewhere on this channel, or I have an article on my website, I know that as well. But yeah, basically slowly adding calories, building your calorie intake back up. I would aim to get it up to at least maybe 1,800 calories at least, if not 2,000 calories. That would be more ideal. And then you can start cutting and gain from there. And this is normal as well, right? The fat loss process or the weight loss process, most likely it's not going to be a linear one phase kind of thing. there will be phases where you do have to cut calories, and then phases where you build them back up to then get in a better position to cut them again. And as your body keeps adapting, it will keep changing in small ways, and then that is how you end up transforming your body. It's not just a matter of cutting. That is all for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you liked it, please like it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And if that's the case, I will see you in the next video.